Ever get that feeling? Like you're so locked into something that, boom, hours just vanish, like minutes. You're just there, in the zone, totally immersed. That's flow. Or figuring out how to unlock that feeling. That's what we're diving into today with Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi's Finding Flow. We're going to uncover some seriously actionable stuff today.
It's funny, we think of flow as this almost mystical thing, but it's really not. It's directly tied to how we work, how we spend our free time, even how we connect with each other.
And the best part is, it's something we can actually get better at, cultivate. And we're all busy people, right? So we've boiled down Csikszentmihalyi's book to the most useful, actionable insights, surprising stuff too. For instance, did you know that in a typical 40-hour work week, we only really do about 30 hours of actual work?
It's true. And that's actually a great illustration of why flow is so important. We got to make those 30 hours count, turn them from a slog into something, engaging and productive.
Totally. Think about a time you were completely engrossed in something. Maybe you were working on a project, playing an instrument, whatever. Time probably flew by, am I right?
It always does.
That's flow. Csikszentmihalyi nails it, defines it as that complete absorption, that being in the zone with something that uses your skills and lights up your passions.
And it's not just about feeling good. Csikszentmihalyi argues that attention, having goals, motivation, they're all key to creating order and meaning in our lives.
It's about being intentional, right? Not just going through the motions. But here's the thing. He points out how much society really shapes our goals without us even knowing it.
It's so true. We're like sponges, soaking up these ideas of success from everywhere, our culture, our families. It's almost insidious. It's crucial to take a step back, look at our own goals, and be honest. Are these really MY goals? Or am I chasing something someone else decided was important?
Such a good point. So how does this flow idea actually show up in our everyday life? I mean, beyond those kind of magical, productive moments, let's talk leisure. We all love to chill out, relax. But the book says there's a difference between active leisure and passive leisure, and they're not all created equal.
Yeah, it's tempting to picture, just zoning out in front of the TV when we think about leisure. And hey, that's fine sometimes, but that's passive. Active leisure, things like reading, engaging conversations, pursuing hobbies, that kind of stuff, tends to bring a lot more joy and fulfillment.
Okay, so this is where it gets really interesting. The book actually suggests that too much passive leisure, it can actually be, detrimental.
Yeah.
Bad for us.
Yeah, it's counterintuitive, right? Relaxing is supposed to be good, and it is short term. But passive leisure, it doesn't really challenge us. It doesn't give us that sense of accomplishment like active leisure does. And that can lead to, boredom, apathy. It might even make us more aware of aches and pains we wouldn't notice if we were engaged in something.
Wow. So if too much passive leisure isn't great, how do we make sure our downtime is actually good for us? This is where the book gets into this fascinating connection between fulfilling work and fulfilling leisure, and how both of those impact our self-esteem. It's like they're two sides of the same coin, work and leisure. But what about flow at work? And not everyone's lucky enough to have their dream job, so how can we find that sense of flow in a job? Maybe a job that we don't love.
That's a great question, and it comes down to finding purpose and meaning in the work itself, even in the tasks that seem, kind of ordinary. Think about nurses, teachers, skilled tradespeople. They often find the most satisfaction from the impact of their work, not just the tasks themselves.
That's such an important reminder. So it's about connecting to the bigger picture, right? And finding flow. It actually gives us some pretty handy advice for that, like questioning whether tasks are really necessary, could they be done more efficiently, even just looking for ways to, add value. And they even suggest combining boring tasks with more enjoyable ones, kind of strategically.
Exactly. Taking ownership, finding ways to make it engaging, even when it's routine. It all comes back to the why, If you can tap into that, the reason behind what you're doing, even those tedious tasks can become way more meaningful.
It's like giving them a reason to matter, yeah. I usually think about flow in those solo activities, like writing, painting. But the book goes somewhere completely different with this. It talks about flow in relationships. Have you ever had a conversation that just clicks? Like there's this energy and suddenly you realize, wow, how much time just flew by.
Oh, totally. Those effortless connections, that's what Csikszentmihalyi calls optimal interactions. It's when people come together and there's this shared purpose, they support each other's goals. It's basically like creating a space for, I don't know what to call it, like collective flow.
Yeah.
Like a team totally in sync on a project, musicians jamming, totally in the groove.
So it's not just me being in flow, but cultivating it with the people around me.
Yeah.
So understanding their goals, their interests, that's a big deal then.
Huge. It's like Think of a well-functioning team, right? If you understand and build upon the strengths, the things that make everyone tick, that's how you reach that flow state together. Romantic relationships, friendships, families, it works everywhere.
So we're not ditching our own goals, but it's more like finding that balance,
Mm-hmm.
my ambitions and the things that people around me want to achieve.
Exactly. Finding that sweet spot takes communication. Really listening. We got to be clear about what we need, but also be ready to hear what the other person needs. That back and forth, that's what makes it work.
Makes sense. It's giving and receiving, right? This makes me think about, parenting, because it can be really demanding, but also so rewarding. Like when you see your kid learning, growing,
Yeah.
those moments, could they be flow-inducing, those shared experiences, those breakthroughs?
100%. Thinking about the whole journey of, raising a child, it takes so much focus, dedication. And there are those moments of pure joy, those fulfilling moments when parents are really present, celebrating their child's wins and being there for the tough times. That can absolutely create flow for both the parent and the child.
That's amazing. This has been so insightful, but I want to switch gears a bit. Let's get practical. If people are listening thinking, okay, this flow thing sounds great, but how do I actually get it? What are the takeaways from finding flow that we can put into action? Like, what can we actually do?
So one of the most important things Csikszentmihalyi talks about is setting clear goals. And he means concrete, like none of that vague stuff. To really get into that flow state, we got to know exactly what we're aiming for.
So not just, I want to be more productive, but I want to finish this project by Friday. Like kind of clear target.
Yeah, exactly.
Like having that mental finish line. But it's not just setting any old goals, right?
Mhm.
The book also talks about going at things, work, hobbies, even just hanging out with people we care about, going at it with this focus on like quality and having a positive impact.
It's true. It's like bringing your A game,
Yeah.
striving for excellence, not just but because it makes the whole thing more enjoyable, more meaningful, for everyone.
So it's finding that joy in the journey, not just getting fixated on the destination. This really resonates with me, actually. I remember when I was learning guitar, those first stages, so frustrating. But when I finally nailed this one chord progression, man, it was euphoric. But it's because I was so focused on the actual learning. The joy was in those little victories.
That's flow right there. And it highlights this key thing, right? Flow often pops up when we push ourselves past our comfort zone a little, take on those challenges that, really use our skills, light up our passions. It's that sweet spot where you're completely engaged, you're stretching, but you're also totally in the moment.
So we've got our clear goals. We're focused on the process. We're not afraid of a little challenge. What else helps us unlock this flow thing? The book seems to be big on self-reflection. Am I right?
Big time. Thinking back on those past experiences, especially the times we were totally in the zone, that can be so insightful. By revisiting those peak experiences, we can start to see the patterns, what activities, what environments, even like what time of day tends to bring out our best, most engaged selves.
Like we're reverse engineering our own personal flow state recipe. Once we know what works, we can just, recreate it, be more intentional.
Exactly. And here's the thing, and Csikszentmihalyi is really clear about this. Flow, it's not this like magical thing that just happens to us. It takes effort, it takes cultivating. Sometimes it even takes a little bit of struggle, It's about shaping our lives to welcome more of those flow states, not just sitting around waiting for them to show up.
That's huge.
Yeah.
It's like anything else worth having, it takes work.
Yeah.
But the payoff, if finding flow is about aligning what we do with what lights us up, finding that joy and engagement in our work, our downtime, our relationships, man, that makes you think, doesn't it?
It really does. It makes you look at what you're spending your time on and honestly ask yourself, is this really serving me? It's like this invitation to look at your life, your choices, and go, am I making space for flow? Am I letting myself go after the stuff that lights me up, that gives me purpose?
It's a call to action. Find your flow. And on that note, I think we've reached the end of our deep dive for today.
Yeah.
But this isn't really the end, right?
Not even close. This is just the beginning.
Yeah.
Now the real work starts. Taking these ideas and, actually using them. Remember, finding flow, it's a journey, it's ongoing. There will be exploring, experimenting, probably some frustrating bits too. But the rewards, more happiness, feeling fulfilled, feeling more connected to everything around us, come on, that makes it all worthwhile.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So until next time, keep those minds curious and keep searching for those moments of pure, unadulterated flow.
Thank you for watching. If you're passionate about learning and want to level up your knowledge, make sure to hit that subscribe button. On our channel, we break down the best books into easy-to-digest summaries that will help you become smarter, Think critically and make better decisions. Don't miss out on your chance to grow and stay ahead.